Welcome back, everyone. A very important health topic. Dr. Shufeldt actually brought it to my attention and then faxed an article over here we thought it would be interesting to pass around. You've heard of those fat burners. They're called thermogenics. Here we've got two of them right here, Metabolift and also Extreme Ripped Fuel. You've seen these on the market. They say that you can lose a lot of weight on them.
You actually can lose a lot of weight because what they end up doing is they promote fat burning, and they increase your what's called your glucagon level, your glycogen storage amount, and they help you burn and mobilize fat, which is how they're marketed.
You know, I started taking them a while back, not this brand, a different brand, before my workouts, because it just helped me get through a workout. I had more strength and more energy because I get tired from getting up so early. Then I started taking them in the morning on the way to work, and I am so much sharper.
How many do you take a day now?
Well, just one or two, but I'm a little bit on edge, like I've been drinking coffee.
It explains it.
Coffee doesn't really do anything for me, but I'm telling you, I am so much sharper mentally when I take those.
It definitely, it's a speed derivative.
Not that you could tell that.
Yeah, right, because you're always that way. It's definitely a speed derivative, and it's from a plant, that Mahawang plant, that the Chinese herbalists have been using for about 5,000 years.
I think we've got a picture of the plant, actually, if we can put it on TV. Ephedra is the name of it. Is that the same as Mahawang?
It is. It's the exact same thing as Mahawang. And it's the plant or the herb that they make Sudafed out of, for example. And there's a lot of chemicals that we use as physicians that are made and derived from this plant.
Well, the reason we're talking about this today is because, well, actually for some time now, the FDA has been investigating ephedra and Mahawang because there have been a lot of adverse effects associated with it, actually a lot of deaths. I want to show you this article that Dr. Shufeldt faxed over to me. I believe this was published in the Mayo Clinic letter.
Right.
But basically the heading is Adverse Cardiovascular Events Temporarily Associated with Mahawang. And I believe it looked at, what, 38 people who had died suddenly?
Who have died. And it's, I guess it's temporally associated, meaning they took this medication or this chemical and then after that at some point died or had a seizure, had a heart attack. And the long and the short of it is this chemical or medication, it increases your heart rate and increases the amount of oxygen your heart needs to beat and to beat effectively. So if you take the medication and your heart cannot, for example, you have some clogs in your coronary arteries, and your heart can't keep up that pace for so long, that's how people suffer heart attacks.
I think the thing that scared me about the article when I read through it was that we were not talking about people that were 70 and 80 years old or people that were double dosing on this.
Right. It was normal. It was the prescribed dosage with people as young as 20.
And people, too, who had no previous heart problems.
Exactly, or no known previous heart attacks or heart problems. And the thing that it really causes is what your heart's going to an adverse heart rhythm. And the one they mentioned is ventricular fibrillation, which is a fatal rhythm unless it's corrected almost immediately.
Well, what's the difference between taking this and somebody taking a lot of caffeine?
Good question.
There's actually probably not, you can overdose on anything, and there's probably not ultimately a large difference. I think this has more heart-stimulating effects than plain old caffeine does. But if you look at a lot of these, they actually have caffeine in them. Or they have cola nuts in them, or guarana seed in it.
200 milligrams of caffeine.
So it's caffeine plus ephedra. And I've actually taken one of those, and you're right. I felt, for about 8 hours, I felt just completely on edge and jittery. And, the question is, if people have been on them for a while and they want to get off, how do they get off? And that's tough.
Are you going to suffer withdrawal like you do from coffee?
Absolutely. And if you take them chronically and you don't keep upping your dose, it has the same sort of effect that a lot of medications have. Your body develops a tolerance to it. So again, people tend to take more and more and more of them to get the same effect they had early on.
Well, if you do take a look at a lot of the bottles, the warning is like 50 lines long as opposed to the directions, which are 2 lines long.
I never saw that part. Let me see.
So you might, there's a lot of people with different pre-existing conditions that the makers even recommend against
not to take. But what you said in the article is true. There are people who've taken it who've had adverse effects after taking it. People who you never would think would have heart conditions or heart problems, or even the potential development. It absolutely can be.
And we've talked about this on the show because the topic came up once, and you think, in your opinion, it's only a matter of time before these are outlawed.
Well, they've been outlawed in some states already. Nebraska, for example, has banned ephedra-containing products that aren't under prescription.
Really?
And, you look at the different websites, and some websites are definitely pro-ephedra, pro-Mahawang, and they say, oh, this is all overkill, aspirin hurts more people than this does.
Which is true. There's a lot of more reports associated with Tylenol.
Well, Tylenol overdose is definitely, but even aspirin is causing bleeding.
Did you see this stuff advertised there? I saw an advertisement earlier today where they had a woman going, look at me, and then a doctor going, oh, I use it.
Right. I think it's like anything. You know, will I ever take it again? Probably not. However, some things in moderation. If you take this every so often, will it harm you? Probably not. If you take it continually every day and keep upping your dose, can it harm you? Yeah, it definitely can.
You're a thermogenic junkie.
But look at him. He's in tip-top shape.
NextCareDoc at AOL.com is the website for Dr. Shufeldt if you would like to ask him any other questions about this topic. Certainly, I mean, one kind of joke a tad about, but certainly to take seriously.
Can be definitely potentially serious.
Suffice to say, if you do have a heart condition or whatever, stay away from this.
Right.
Most definitely.
Well, thanks for ruining my day.
Sorry about that.
If I go down